In this video, we are working on only the questions found in the GMetrix Photoshop CC 18 test. We are working on GMetrix Photoshop CC 18 test 1. The first task wants us to choose the correct vocab words for the sentence that's been given. So let's go ahead and look at this. A blank file is unprocessed and contains more data than a standard blank file. So let's go ahead and look at our options. A raw file is unprocessed and contains more data than a standard JPEG file. A raw file is a picture that's been taken on a DSLR camera that hasn't had any processing done to the image. And then of course JPEG is one that has been processed through the camera. I'm going to click next. This question is asking us this. In the beginning of the visual design process, it's important to work closely with your client. Which of the following methods is a good way to quickly explore creative options and ensure you are creating something the client is happy with? So this question is telling us that this is the beginning of the process. That's an important part of this question. We're only going to have one selection for this. And so as I look through here, finalize concepts goes against beginning. These two right here work exclusively in a traditional format or a digital format. We're in the beginning of the process and we want to be flexible when working with the client. So these two options can't be right. So what makes sense here is making rough sketches in the beginning. That way you guys can look at it, decide if that's what you want to do. We'll go ahead and click next. This question is looking for a definition for typography. It's not going to be the feelings, the alignment. It's not going to be emphasizing important elements. That's a hierarchy question. And then this is just the spacing. So it's not that. Our best decision is here, the art and design of arranging type when choosing a font style, and color. This question is telling us that we are going to publish a bunch of images on the web, and we need to make sure that they are in the correct color mode and the correct size while still maintaining the same ratio. And then it tells us to look here at the bottom. Recording an action will be the quickest way to make changes to all the images. Which of the following steps would you include in your action? I know just based upon working on web that out of these two color choices that kind of go together, it's one or the other. We're going to use the RGB color mode and not the CMYK. CMYK is for print. And then looking here at these two, using the 300 dpi resolution or constrain image portions when exporting, these two are kind of going together as well. I know that for web, you want to use 72 dpi. The 300 dpi is for print again. So what we want to do is select constrain image portions when exporting. This task is asking us which path would you follow to add new colors to an existing swatch library, and it goes ahead and it gives us different options here. You have the option of going through the panels up here, but on the certification exam, you're not going to have that. So you're going to want to be familiar with questions like this. How do you access different things? For this, I know it's under Windows and swatches, so we'll go ahead and select that. Task 6 tells us that we're working with some photographs that we received from a client, and we don't want any of the editing and changes that we make to be permanent. And it's asking us what type of editing would you use if you wanted to preserve the original image data? The key part of this question is to preserve the original image data. A big word on this Photoshop exam is going to be the non-destructive editing. That's going to be key, whether it's using smart objects or using layers. You're going to see questions revolving around this a lot, non-destructive editing. So make sure you know that term. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 7 asks us, when applying a filter to a text layer, how can you ensure that the type's editability is not lost? It's not the enable the type's editable performance options. It's not ensuring the document saved as a Photoshop file. Convert the type layer into a smart object. It sounds good right here because it says smart object. And then the last one says rasterize the type layer after applying the filter. We don't want to rasterize. That's going to make it permanent. So convert the type layer into a smart object is what we're looking for here. Task 8 asks, you are editing a photo and one of the trees in the landscape would balance the composition better if it was farther to the right side of the frame. Which of the following features would be the most effective to move the tree to the right side of the image? It's not going to be the spot healing tool. That would be for like pimples. The magic wand tool is going to make selections based upon color. It's not that. It's not going to be the clone stamp tool either. What we want is the content aware move. That will allow us to make a movement, and Photoshop will go ahead and make some changes to the image based upon the information that's around that selection. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 9 asks us, from the following options, which two are the benefits of using a linked smart object in Photoshop? Here it tells us that there are two. The first one's correct. The smart object is automatically updated if the source file is changed. That's the benefit of having a linked smart object, is if the original file changes, it will update. And then the ability to perform non-destructive transforms without losing original image quality. That is correct as well. And then the other two are incorrect. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 10 asks, which two options correctly describe a raster or a bitmap image? So let's go ahead and look at our options here. Represented by pixels in a grid layout, that's correct. Pixels are part of that raster image. Created with a mathematical calculation, that's going to be a vector image, so I know that that's not correct. Can be resized without loss of quality. That's going to be a vector image as well, so we know that's not correct. Cannot be resized without loss of quality is correct. We'll go ahead and select that one as well. Task 12 wants us to go ahead and drag our options for the vocab word to the correct definition. So the first one is kerning. Kerning is the spacing between specific pairs of characters. Leading is the distance between each line of text. And then tracking is used to change the spacing between all characters in a block of text. This type of question has been seen many, many times on the certification exams. Make sure you understand this. This is definitely a domain that you could see. Task 23 asks us to select yes if the statement is valid for use with the lasso tool, otherwise select no. To remove selected area from the image, yes. To group objects from separate layers together, the answer on that one's no. To make a selection and use content aware fill, the answer is yes. And to make non-geometric selections, the answer is yes. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 34 tells us that we're editing some photos for our client's magazine, and it's important that we understand the difference between destructive and non-destructive. It tells us to go ahead and label which things would be considered destructive or non-destructive. So using adjustment layers would be non-destructive. Masking would also be non-destructive. You can reverse that. Transforming a smart object, also non-destructive just because it can be changed. Using the clone stamp tool, that's destructive. And then making adjustments to the image using the adjustments menu, that's going to be destructive. Task 36 wants us to match the Creative Commons image with the definition. The share alike is this symbol right here. So we'll go ahead and drag that there. The second one, the attribution, you have to give the author credit, would be the person image. The non-commercial is going to be the crossed out $sign. And then the non-derivative works, you can use only exact copies, not derivatives, works, or remixes based on it, is going to be the equal symbol. We'll click next. Task 37 wants us to identify the different sections of the layers panel shown above. Notice that A, B, C, D here is not the same here, so don't get those backwards. A is a type layer, so we'll go ahead and click and drag that over. B is showing a mask, so we'll go ahead and select layer mask for B. C is showing us a shape, so we'll go ahead and select shape here. And D is showing us the locked layer, it can't be changed, so we'll go ahead and select that for D. We'll click next. Task 38 asks us which of the following is not a phase involved in a project plan. And looking at this budget discussion is not it. You would have testing and publishing and the planning analysis in the project plan, but not budget discussion. We'll click next. Task 39 wants us to tell us which is not a factor when determining the kind of images to include in our project for a target audience. The age of our audience is going to be important. Our stylistic preferences is not. Of course, the desired goals of the client is going to be important. The purpose of the project content is going to be important. So we want to select your own stylistic preference, and we'll click next. Task 40 asks us, during the process of interacting with your client, which of the following would be deliverables you will need to provide as you work through the project? As I'm looking through this, it's not going to be due dates. It's not going to be resource allegation. We will want design comps and project specifications for this. We'll go ahead and click next.